What a weekend. What a draft. What's the check down with Chandler and David? What is going on? How are we doing, David?
Oh, I'm great. Fantastic right now.
Yeah?
Giants looking had a pretty good draft, I'll have to say, but that's just how I'm feeling right now. How about you?
Initial reaction for you. We'll get to me right after. For the Giants, how'd you feel about the draft for them?
Pretty good. Pretty good. I'm like the combo of who they picked and who the coaches are now, I think is it's looking good for
You're
us.
excited for Brian Dayball now. He's starting to get his pieces and finally
Yeah,
getting rid of that
I'm very
David
excited.
Gettleman regime of players and
Yeah. It feels
excited
like we
for it.
can breathe again, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, and that conference is, or that division is very wide open too. So it's not
Yeah.
like you guys
Yeah.
are truly set. Like you guys have an opportunity to actually win that division. So I'm excited for you guys.
Mhm.
And for me, Jaguars, with all the other things that's been going on, with the teams in my division, I am very happy. I think that we are the most secure with our quarterback, which is so weird when you think about it. Um,
Yeah.
I obviously Matt Ryan's going to go in and starting with the Colts, but I mean it's going to be his first year, right? Tennessee, what a huge, right? And then
Yikes.
and let's see what's going on with Davis Mills. I like the Titans pick, but that's going to be a whole thing that we get into as well. I
Yeah.
guess that's a good place to start with. We'll start with because we have a little bit of things that we really want to focus on. We'll break down how we feel about our teams went. So for you, on a scale of 1 to 10, going out of this draft with all the players that were picked, how'd you feel about your team building this draft?
Scale of 1 to 10, I'm gonna give him a 7.5. I'm holding off on an 8 just because I don't want to be, too impartial or too partial. I feel like I want to grade them properly, and I'd say 7.5 is pretty good.
What's the reason for it? Why do we feel that way?
Well, okay, so mainly what I was thinking was they did well in the first round. That was like I thought they really knocked it out in the first round. They got two guys who were supposed to be at least comparable number ones in their perspective or respective positions.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the rest of the draft, it kind of seemed like they drafted a receiver, undersized receiver, which they already have Kadarius Tony,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know exactly how well that's gonna fare. They want to trade him. They're trying to get rid of Tony, but we'll see what happens. But if they do and they can replace him with the guy that they drafted, then that'll be good. They drafted some guys that can fit into the schemes that they want to run, and like very under polished guys, but with some time can really fit into that scheme. And I think they're building for the future for sure. So I'm always I'm always good with that.
It was a very unique draft for the Giants because it seemed like they drafted into the first couple rounds was start right now. And
Mm-hmm.
then went for which most teams do go in that later rounds is people you can develop. But I was nervous to start with it because they got the person I wanted. I'll tell you that much. Like
Really?
with Evan Neal, right? When Evan Neal ended up going to the Giants.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So like I think Evan Neal is going to be a great tackle for a very long time in this league. So I'm
Yeah.
excited for him, and it's something that Daniel Jones needs, the Giants need. They've needed that tackle that can just dominate in that position, and I think you're going to get that with Evan Neal. So I
Mm-hmm.
I don't think your team is in too bad a shape, to be honest with you. On the
I
flip
think they did
side,
pretty well.
for me, for the Jaguars, I'm probably gonna go with a 7 out of 10. We really drafted to have people to start right now. Other
Yeah,
than the
yeah,
first overall pick, which personally I am okay with, I have said this. Trayvon Walker, I wanted him rather than Aiden Hutchinson. I don't know why. I don't know if it's just because I know the SEC. I know their coach. That Georgia defense was just brutal and strong. And Trayvon Walker matches the city of Jacksonville compared to Aiden Hutchinson. Aiden
yeah.
Hutchinson, he's not from the dirty South. He's from the polished Michigan home of what he knows. And when you get Trayvon Walker, he's from the dirty South, right? He's from Atlanta. He's from true Southern roots. And in Jacksonville, you kind of need that scrappy ball player to be your guy. So that's why I'm okay with that. We got
Hmm.
a replacement for Miles Jack, which I think is huge with Devin Lloyd. It's a guy that can start as soon as he gets in. And we replaced our center that left. Brandon Linder retired after 10 seasons in the NFL, which hurts me a lot because I absolutely love Brandon Linder. I think he was one of the most underrated offensive linemen in the entire league. But we got we got someone that can go into that center position or into guard. So I think they did a great job with the draft. I wish they went with more receivers. They didn't go with any receivers, which is surprising, and did go with a running back, even though we have Travis Etienne and James Robinson. So
Hey, you can never have too many running backs, especially in this league.
that's
You
true.
see what happened to ATN
Oh my
first
gosh.
week.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean,
It's
you
true.
can never have too many.
I completely agree. And that could be why. And that's kind of funny because I have something I want to talk about later when it comes to like running back and receivers, but I'll wait that for a second. Next part that we want to get into is because now that draft is over and all the hype is real for all these draftees, first overall pick, we're going to be watching our man in Pittsburgh just go off. Kenny Pickett, my cousin, he's going to be really focused on being the greatest quarterback to ever play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But we're going to talk about some undrafted players. So we're going to talk about the best undrafted players in the league at the moment. I have a few. How many do you have, if you don't mind me asking? If you have,
I think right now I have three in mind.
okay. I do want to say a quick little fun fact. So Pittsburgh drafted a quarterback with their first round pick this year, and it was a first drafted quarterback for them, obviously, since Ben Roethlisberger. Their last one before that was Terry Bradshaw. And the big thing with Terry Bradshaw was that they had an opportunity to draft Dan Marino, and they passed on Dan Marino, and he went to the Dolphins. And Dan Marino actually played at University of Pitt too. So that was a really big deal. And the reason why they didn't draft him was that he actually he went they said they're gonna have Terry Bradshaw for another year or a couple years after that. Little did they know that he actually had elbow surgery. And when he went in to get the elbow surgery, he used a pseudonym. Do you know what the name he used was?
What?
Thomas Brady.
Oh, no way. That's
This
crazy.
is in 1983, I think it was. Thomas
Predicting.
Brady. He gets the surgery. His elbow doesn't repair. He plays one more game for the rest of his career. And then they had to wait however long to get their next franchise quarterback, a Ben Roethlisberger. So there was a Tom Brady before Tom Brady was even Tom Brady. Fun
That's
fact of the
crazy.
day.
Fun fact of the day.
So getting into this, your top undrafted free agents, who did you want to start with?
I'm gonna first go with our boy in
I
Minnesota.
knew you were going to go
We're
with
gonna
Adam
go
Thielen.
with Adam Thielen.
Okay.
My next guy, I'm trying to think. I had a couple guys and now I'm blanking. So I'm trying to think. I'm gonna let you go with your guy next.
So I went with some people that you don't really think about because there's obviously the people that like you do know. Adam Thielen. Hey, even I know he's on the league anymore. Tony Romo was undrafted. He had a pretty great career when you think about it
Yeah.
too. Justin Tucker, kickers, being undrafted to be the best kicker of all time, very impressive. Jason Peters, when you think about how dominant he's been over his entire career, to be that big and not to get drafted is crazy. And then two people that aren't, I had Adam Thielen on my list too. Two people that are very surprising: James Robinson for the Jaguars, being that running back. And the fact that he was so good, the only thing Doug Marrone ever did right as he was leaving the door was like, you know what, we traded Leonard Fournette because we had this guy that we undrafted and came out of nowhere and balled. And sure enough, that's what he's done. First year,
Yeah.
1,000 yards rushing. Second year, over, even though he had injuries, was just dynamic. And the Green Bay Packers receiver, Alan Lazard,
Alan Lazard, he was undrafted.
Undrafted to the Jaguars, went onto
Wow.
the
Oh
practice
yeah.
squad. Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Yes.
And I'm like, this guy, I watched his film, I'm like, this guy can ball. He can play. And
Yeah.
sure enough, the Packers signed him from the Jaguars practice squad and 4 years with the Packers. And realistically, he's had a pretty decent career.
Hmm. So far, I mean, he's only in his second year, I think.
No,
So,
he's in his
or
going into
third
his,
year.
he's fourth actually. His
Fourth. Oh
first year
wow.
he was truly his first year he was true practice squad or like just reserve. And then in
Hmm.
the last 3 years he's just been getting bigger and bigger on that depth chart and he's gonna need a bigger part this year.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of number one now. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. He might just ball out.
Hey, you never know.
I could see it. I honestly could see it.
Anybody
Okay. So I'll give you two other guys that I was thinking of. My number that the other one that I thought of was Chris Harris.
Yeah.
When he played for the Broncos, he won a Super Bowl with the Broncos. I'm pretty sure. So
Yes, you did.
that's all right. That's already pretty high standard being
Yeah.
set right there. Wes Walker was another one. I think he won two Super Bowls. One with the Broncos and one with the
The
Patriots.
Patriots.
And so that's pretty good. And then another one, going back to my running back roots a little bit, Priest Holmes.
Oh my gosh.
Tell me if you remember Priest Holmes.
Oh yeah. My man ran
He-
through hell and high water to get anywhere
Yeah.
he needed to.
Yeah, yeah. And so he's pretty much he's a Kansas City great at this point. So I mean, can't go wrong with those.
Another
Four guys.
a historic one is that Warren Moon, only quarterback
Moon.
in history to have 20,000 passing yards in the NFL and the CFL. Shout out to the
Big-
Edmonton Elks
Shout
and
out
the
to
Houston
Elks.
Oilers.
Yeah.
But yeah, Warren Moon had a very historic career. So, and he was undrafted and he was great.
He was great. He was great in both leagues. It's truly hard to do that. Is from the CFL to the NFL and play really well in both leagues. Very hard to do. They're not very interchangeable, especially at the quarterback position. So to do it is something very impressive.
Other notable ones, Jeff Garcia, he did it. And obviously he played for San Fran for a bit in the Browns, if I'm not mistaken. And then he played for, I think, the Argonauts in the CFL. And then Doug Flutie, another one, Buffalo Bills and the Argonauts. So, I mean, some quarterbacks have the opportunity. I mean, you can say, Johnny Manziel. Yeah, now he's a part of the FCFL. If you ever watch on Twitch, just saying the Fran-controlled football league, it is actually kind of fun to watch. Terrell Owens is in the FCFL. So
Is he?
Yeah. Terrell
Wow.
Owens is playing professional football. Yeah.
He's like 40,
48,
45
I think.
now.
And then
48?
also Josh Gordon, before he played for Kansas City last year, was actually in the FCFL.
Oh shit.
So it actually helped him get back on track. Some notable names, Johnny Manziel, and then of course we're talking about the the USSFL or whatever it is, the other league, the USFL. Did you hear about Paxton Lynch? Do you
No.
remember Paxton Lynch?
The name rings a bell.
He was a first round pick to the Broncos, and it was like the whole didn't know what we're gonna do after Peyton Manning phase.
Oh yeah.
And he was one of the first round picks after that and was just a complete bust.
Damn, yeah. And now he's on the
He's in the USFL and he got benched in his first game.
really.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so bust in both leagues. That's
So-
crazy.
Yeah, and the kind of perfect segue, and I have a question for you. Do you believe being a bust is the player's fault?
It can be.
So,
In certain cases, absolutely.
okay, so elaborate.
Have you ever heard of Jamarcus Russell?
No, who? The all-star quarterback from Ohio State to the Raiders?
Jamarcus Russell is a perfect example of it's all the player's fault. He just wanted to get the bag. He got the bag, and decided football wasn't for him anymore, he got guaranteed dollars. I'm sure he's still rolling in the money right now. So for me, Jamarcus Russell would be the perfect example for someone uh who is the at fault for being a bust, because he could have been great. He had the good frame. He was a really good player in college. He was a very good player in college, hence why he got so much money. But once he got the money, that was
Dipping
it for
out.
him.
Yep.
Yeah, that was it for him. McDonald's, Popeyes, all
It
the good
tastes
stuff he
different
was
out in
eating.
Oakland. I don't know why. The McDonald's just tastes so much different out in
It just
Oakland.
hits in Oakland.
It just
Yeah.
slaps. I lived in Ohio. I lived in Columbus this entire time. You told me that in and out.
Yeah.
I'm in and
Yeah.
out with
He
this
was
money going.
eating. He was eating.
um, I think it's a very good conversation because we always want to just throw this bust narrative to every single player that doesn't live up to the hype, but like, it's not their fault that you have them rated so high. Like it
Yeah.
really is. Like when you and it goes to the point where this year people say the draft for quarterbacks wasn't very high, right? Like it wasn't a higher end draft class. Kenny
Mhm.
Pickett might not even have been a top 5 quarterback in last year's draft. It's not his fault that Pittsburgh drafted him in the first round. So if Kenny Pickett doesn't pan out, it's not like he told Pittsburgh you have to draft me. And that's like,
He might have.
but like you have to draft me, but they don't have to listen. But
That's
like,
true.
I mean, so the thing about it for me is that we put so much focus on like players being bust and all of that, and it's like it's not always on the players. Stop giving these players such high draft grades. Stop going saying as the Raiders, I'm gonna draft. I forgot Khalil Farrell or whatever his name was with the 19th pick when he's unproven in college.
Yeah.
It's not his fault that you decide to go so high on a player that's not worth it. So,
I mean, I have to agree with I it's I'm like in between, because I feel like if you see someone who's performing in college and you say, hey, that his game could theoretically translate to the NFL as a team, I'm gonna take a risk on that. But now where the moniker of bust comes in is actually in the media. The media dubs someone a bust.
mhm.
So someone could have gotten picked the first round, first overall pick, and comes into the NFL just for, let's say, a running back, becomes a teamer. He just plays special teams. He's really good on special teams. He's kind of like a second string, third string kind of guy, and that's an average career for most people.
Mhm.
He was average, but to say he's a bust is all left to the media, I would say.
So, to give an example, at this moment, would you say Baker Mayfield is a bust?
No, Baker Mayfield's been to the playoffs. He's been to the playoffs. He's won a playoff game.
So is
You could
Kyler
say
Murray going to be a bust?
I still think Kyler Murray's going to be a bust,
But he's been to the playoffs.
but he's never won one.
That's true. Oh, one win makes just
I
so
mean,
much of a difference.
Tony Romo won one. That's why he's not a bust.
Tony Romo was also undrafted. It was not
Again,
supposed to be.
There you go. See,
Can't even be a bust. Can't
the
even be a
expectation
bust.
for Kyler Murray is so high that he can't fall short in the ways that he has been. Otherwise, he's going to be labeled a bust, or just maybe not a bust, but he's not going to be like he's not going to be at the top, echelon of the quarterbacks.
The level that he's
not gonna
expected to be. But
Yeah,
again,
which
is that Cliff Kingsbury coming in? When it comes to that, when it comes to Kyler Murray and everything, Cliff Kingsbury literally came up and said, "I want this man." Right? He was
yeah,
so
I mean,
dead set on it.
yeah, I agree. I think it's partially, if Kyler Murray doesn't pan out, I'm gonna put at least 45% of the blame on Cliff. I think he got the job and does not deserve it, and I will stand by that. I think that's gonna be my hot take for the week or for this week is that Cliff Kingsbury is a very below average coach.
I mean,
I would.
they
I'm not even
start
gonna
out
say average.
strong,
He's
and
below.
they start out strong. They just don't make the adjustments throughout the season that you're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I can agree with that. I see it. Um, and talking about quarterbacks in the NFL, there obviously was five, but we're gonna go with just the four main quarterbacks drafted in this year's draft. I want to talk about kind of like what their position situation looks like for them and who has the best opportunity to succeed and who has the most opportunity to fail, in your opinion. So we can start at the top of the draft. The only quarterback to go in the first round, which is very surprising. We're going to go with Kenny Pickett going to Pittsburgh. What do you feel about this? How do you feel about this?
So Kenny Pickett, I had having he makes good decisions. He is very quick, athletic. He's quick with his reads. He's pretty average in athleticism compared to the other like 3
Mm-hmm.
that we have. He's got great feet in the pocket. Um, he might struggle with NFL defenses, but that is something that comes with time and like being able to work under a good quarterback coach. Uh, he's going to need to sit, I would say, for at least half the year, if not the whole year, and then possibly another year just to get right. And I think if you can do that and if he can pan out the way it's looking like, he's going to be a force in the league. He's going to be mentioned in the same veins of the Mahomes and the Burrow and all those other guys. And that's what I see right now. But that's also just speculation.
Yeah. Kenny Pickett is in a very peculiar situation in which the people of Pittsburgh are going to want to see him before he's ready. And that's
Absolutely.
kind of the byproduct of having Mitchell Trubisky on the depth chart, because in the city of Pittsburgh, you might say like Ben Roethlisberger declined over the past couple years, but he would still be at the end of his career possibly better than Mitchell Trubisky. The moment Mitchell Trubisky comes in and throws an interception or misses a pass, the clamoring for Kenny Pickett's gonna be going on. Like we use our first round pick for this guy. He's from Pittsburgh. We want to see him right here, right now. And that might
Absolutely.
not be great for him and his development. And other thing is, it's kind of weird and no one's really talking about it. I don't know if the gloves are staying on or they're coming off. I don't know if that's just going to be a thing. I don't know if it's the small hands thing, which I don't care about. I mean, like whatever, like cool small hands, but like I don't know if he's going to stay that way. What I do know is I liked his medium passes, like his midfield passes. His deep ball needs some work, and then his short pass just seems like he's not getting out quick enough. And that was
Yeah.
my thing with him was that athleticism, pretty scary athleticism, like
You
sneaky,
think scary?
like sneaky. It's like
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
a lesser Josh Allen athleticism.
Okay.
The way he's able to buy time, get out of the pocket, and still scan downfield, but he'll run for that 10 yards that you won't expect him to do. Um, Obviously not the arm of Josh Allen, like absolutely not. And to me, it's just he does need time. He might be pro ready, he might be ready to start, but if it starts to go bad, I don't know what's gonna happen with the mental, and that's kind of
See,
like my focus.
here's the thing that I kind of struggle with is how come fan bases don't really look at like other teams and think, hey, Patrick Mahomes didn't start for 2 years and now look where he's at. Now he's developed. He's been to a Super Bowl already. He had time to work. And obviously, in that time, you had an Alex Smith, who was a really good quarterback to have in that spot.
Mm-hmm.
So the Chiefs were always kind of in it, anyways. But but Patrick Mahomes got a chance to just sit and learn, and look where he's at now. So I don't see why other fan bases and teams don't think, oh, let's give this guy a chance to figure it out and work his way in, because we don't want Super Bowls We don't need someone who's going to bring us just so close to the playoffs or so close to the Super Bowl. We want someone who is going to continuously bring us to the playoffs, bring us to the Super Bowl. But for some reason, people just aren't patient enough for that, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just insane to me.
And it's funny that you say that because when I look at that, that's how I feel about the Malik Willis opportunity. Is that Malik Willis is going to come in with Tennessee. He's going to sit for a year, no matter
Oh yeah,
what, learn behind Ryan Tannehill, but hopefully not the bad things. But he's going to learn behind Ryan Tannehill, and he's going to get the whole Mike Vrabel is going to sit him down. He saw this with Jimmy G. He's going to show him the step by step on how to become an NFL quarterback. He's the most raw, absolutely, but he has that deep power. Like that ball snaps out of his hand. Like he has a fastball. Everyone else has a
mm-hmm.
two-seamer. He's throwing a four-seamer. It just pops. My one issue with him, and it's not as big as a deal, the hand claps before he throws. And if you're a quarterback, that half second where he has to slap the ball, they got to get that out of it. And it's going to be interesting to see if they get that out of him, because I'm watching his pro day and it's clap and then throw. That half second, that split second, it makes a massive difference in the NFL. That's either your player going to be popping open and down the middle, or he's going to be going into double coverage at that point. So,
Yeah, I have the exact same. That was something that I had written down too, because I saw in one of the plays that I was watching, he clapped. His receiver was running a slant, and he just missed the slant on like having the ball be on his stride versus behind him,
mm-hmm.
and the receiver had to come back to pick it up, and like having to turn around pick it up isn't very like conducive for getting more yards. And either way, the receiver dropped the ball because he had to come back, stop on a dime, catch the ball, and think about, oh, now I have to sprint. So you got to make it easy on your guys. And for Malik Willis, I think he's hands down the best quarterback that came out of the like raw talent wise. I think he's the best to come out of the draft, but he's got a lot of work to be done on him. He
And
needs a
yeah.
lot of work.
And I think it's that low school problem with him is that the competition wasn't at level where you want to see going into the NFL. But he looks great on film. He looks great as a human being, like thick lower body. He can move around really well. He has that quickness to him. He's like a beefier, stronger Kyler Murray. Like
Yeah,
he's shifty, he's able to get around, he breaks those tackles, he's hard to take down, but at the same
he's also
time,
taller.
yeah, but barely. He's like 6.5 feet, I think it was. He's not
I
too
think Kyler
crazy.
Murray's he's just
5'4".
5'9".
Yeah, yeah,
He's
yeah.
much taller.
But that being said, we will come back to that. We are going to take a short break. But we'll see you in a second, and then we'll talk more about Malik Willis and go into the other two quarterbacks that we have. So we'll be right back, y'all. And we are back. Continue on with Malik Willis. So what is your projected idea what's going to happen with the Malik Willis situation?
Okay, so two situations could happen here. We could have a Patrick Mahomes type situation where they let him sit. He develops under Ryan Tannehill and Mike Vrabel. He kind of gets his bearings under him. They fix some of his, his bad habits, and he excels in the NFL. Or he kind of just they play him. Well, I don't think they're going to play him right away. That's one thing I don't think is going to happen is them playing him right away. So he could either do really well if he's a coachable guy. I think his ceiling is right underneath a Patrick Mahomes type deal. I'm not going to put him up to Patrick Mahomes because
I mean, that's the best quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, it seems a little early for that, but his ceiling is a Patrick Mahomes type, and his floor
Ryan Tannehill.
Mitchell Trubisky.
Okay.
Mitchell Trubisky. That's his floor.
Okay.
That's who I would give to him.
I agree with the first part. I don't know about the Mitchell Trubisky piece. I feel like Mitchell Trubisky was thrown in a terrible situation.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
like again, that's someone we're gonna call a bust. It's like it's not his fault. People traded 18 first round picks for the dude. Like that's not right. It's like Trey Lance. We can't call Trey Lance a bust. He was just vibing in North Dakota State, living his life, and they're like for third overall picks. So
Yeah.
that's my thing, right?
Yeah.
I think Malik Willis can be good. Hopefully they develop him the right way. It's the same idea as Pittsburgh, though, is the moment Ryan Tannehill starts slipping or performs how he did in the first round of the playoffs, people are going to be yelling Malik's name from the rafters. And the best part about it is that you only use a third round pick on him, which is amazing. Like, you didn't have to put a first round draft capital player. So that is very fortunate. And we'll just see how that goes. Now, you did, on the other hand, lose your best receiver,
Best receiver. Yeah.
which we'll get to in a minute because I think that's very important. But
Uh,
I just see the Titans really having to focus on getting him right. And if you don't get him right, you're going to be in a bad situation because Ryan Tannehill is not the answer. I can tell you that much. He is not the
Yeah.
answer.
that I can agree with.
Going to the next one. I'm gonna go to Matt Corral first. I love his tape. Like, something about it. I don't know if it's because it's the SEC. I don't know if it's because he plays in a Lane Kiffin offense, which is partially an NFL driven offense, but his passing just pops. The way I compare him is he's a Lamar Jackson with lesser running ability but better passing ability.
Okay.
So he can come off the edge. You can run quarterback designed runs with him, but at the same time you can run a lot of play action with him. 90% of his plays in college are play action. But what's nice about him is that after that play action, he sets up quick. He's not too short. He's not too tall, obviously, but he's 6'2". He's got a decent size to him. He has a very Lamar Jackson-esque body. And for that is the reason why I really enjoyed watching him. Now, the one thing you got to be careful with him is that he's sometimes too athletic for his own good. And that's what happens when you know how to use your feet. You kind of get too much happy feet. But I like the way his feet set up. I like the quick release, especially on short slants. He doesn't waste time. How Malik Willis does the pat, he doesn't do the pat. He just gets the ball out.
Yeah.
And he played against teams in the SEC, played against, Alabama. You got to play against Georgia. You got to play against these teams that, 5 first round picks this year went from the Georgia defense. So he was able to really focus on his play. And I think he has the best opportunity going into the NFL because he's already played in an NFL style / against NFL athletes.
I'm kind of in the same ballpark as you for Matt Corral. I would actually say that he is the most NFL ready of all the quarterbacks. It's a debate between him and Kenny Pickett, but I think he's the most NFL ready. I think he will pick up an NFL offense very quickly, very easily, and you can put him in right now. I think Carolina probably got the steal of the draft with him. I think he can be what they wanted Sam Darnold to be. I think one thing that I think he would really help him excel is a good running game. And you know who has a good running game? Carolina when
Cam Newton, Christian McCaffrey.
When Christian McCaffrey's in, Carolina is a very good.
Hey, Chuba Hubbard! Shout out to Edmonton, Alberta, Canada.
Edmonton, yeah.
The Bev Facey. I don't know if we could talk about him like that, but yeah, Chuba goes in there and he plays hard.
Yeah, he's pretty good too. I would say him the running game for the Panthers is very good, which bodes well for Matt Corral. I think he's very athletic. He makes great decisions. I saw him make some really, really decisive throws and just like putting it on the receiver and making sure that he is off. I saw him move off progressions, which is what makes me feel like he can translate to the next level and he will do well in the next level. Is that he's learned how to read offenses and he can move off of different reads, and that'll make him very comfortable in an NFL offense.
Yeah.
He's got really good pocket presence as well. Where he struggles and where he might struggle is not being able to read NFL defenses, because it's one thing to read the SEC defenses. It's still a college defense. There's still very little nuance to it, more than most, but still very little. And so for him to come into the NFL and read the NFL style defenses might be a steep learning curve, but I think he can do it. He needs to be in the right system, which he happens to be in. He happens to be in the right system, so I hope that system stays the way it is. It for his case or for his sake, and I think he will need a good offense to really excel in the NFL, which he's right now he has. So I think he is the most NFL ready in terms of his situation that he's in and the quarterback that he is.
The way I look at it is I look at the one person who I think is the most happy about him being drafted, and that is Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
The way that it's a Cam Newton idea, but a younger version, someone who has a chip on his shoulder because of the way he fell. Do you know the reason why Matt Corral fell a bit?
I don't know.
It was off-field issues. And apparently they were a lot more glaring than what was kind of said during the draft. But between kind of partying a little bit harder as well as dealing with some mental health issues, that is why he slipped. The skill level, unmatched. If he had no issues off the field, he would have been the first quarterback taken. I absolutely believe that. But I also think that he's put in the best situation because he can beat out Sam Darnold. There's no he can go out there and people can watch him literally run laps around Sam Darnold and throw the exact same ball that Sam Darnold can throw. And I'm like, that's my quarterback. I can mess with that, right? I can fuck with that. But when I look at with Christian McCaffrey, is that Christian McCaffrey works best in a college style offense where he's used as that wide receiver running back, like the fake QB, like trying to play around with an option game, going out for screens to quick tosses and all of that. And with Matt Corral, you have to wait for his speed. You can watch him actually hit the edge and beat you. He can also get those quick slants. RPO game is going to be massive. And RPO was massive when Matt Rule and Joe Brady were at LSU with Joe Burrow. So a lot of connections here that I think give him the best opportunity out of any person that was drafted in the quarterback room.
Yeah, and that's exactly why I think he has the most potential to be right off the bat the best looking quarterback out of his field. And exactly, and for McCaffrey, I think it'll be good because you'll have a quarterback that can take that running load off of him, because now he doesn't have to be the only sole runner in that offense. And I think the biggest issue for that was plaguing him, being McCaffrey, was the fact that he carried the ball a lot.
He's the offense.
He's injury prone, and he is just the offense. And once you see him go out, the offense kind of dips. And I think having someone like Matt Corral there will help him out, will take the load off of him. They can do some run. They can design some runs for Matt Corral and kind of figure it out from there and see how and kind of be a force in their division. I personally think that Carolina could be really good this year. It just depends on how well they utilize Matt Corral and Chris McCaffrey.
And it's kind of interesting that Baker Mayfield has nowhere to go now. He has no home.
Yeah.
And I will say for Sam Darnold, this was his worst nightmare.
Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, Cam Newton, they're all gonna be in the in the same boat for a while.
I agree.
There's no
I agree with
there's
you.
nowhere that needs a quarterback
At
right
the moment,
now
other than I mean
at the
the
moment.
Lions, I don't trust Jared Goff to start for my Pee Wee squad.
Hey,
Um,
we'll see. We'll see.
Drew Lock. I
They
mean, you
they're
gotta
putting more
you gotta.
more talent around him. We'll have to see what happens.
Hmm. I have faith in Dan Campbell. I will say that I have
I do
faith in
have
Dan Campbell.
I think out of everyone, out of all the teams this year that drafted, the Detroit Lions had the best draft. And
Yeah.
that's not a hot take. I think and most people would agree with me. They had a great draft. Aside from maybe the Chiefs,
Yeah.
I think Detroit had the best draft
Hmm.
of all of this
Picks that
year.
just made sense. Like it wasn't like
They
reaches. It was
made
just like
they made sense and they got because I mean they like let's be frank, they were picking pretty high up.
yeah,
So they had they
yeah.
just had they had good picks and they made good use of their picks and I think yeah, we'll see. I think we see them take a turn for the better this year.
Hmm. I
For
mean,
sure.
you're playing against the Bears and the Vikings twice a year, give you an opportunity to do pretty well as well, like too.
Hey,
So,
we'll see. We'll see. I might be going to the Vikings training camp this year, so we'll
oh,
see.
cool. What are we
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
there?
I'm down in Minnesota for a little bit, so
Nice. I like
I'll
it.
see
I
what
like
happens
it.
with that.
Again, I will say one more shout out to Chuba Hubbard for being on the Carolina Panthers, going from Edmonton. That is incredible to represent Canada, represent Edmonton and Alberta. That's amazing. The Bev Facey running backs is doing great things. I'm really proud of him.
Mhm.
Even though go Ainley.
Mhm.
Anyways, we're gonna get to the last quarterback we have here is Desmond Ritter, who went to the Atlanta Falcons. Um, to me, he's like Marcus Mariota 2.0 if I had to give him a comp. Tall,
Yeah, yeah.
skinnier, great feet, stands up tall, not the best passing, but is still very raw and can be molded. Played in the God, what are they in? The USA conference, I think Cincinnati is. I could be wrong. But
Yeah.
not the highest conference, but performed well in the conference. It's just funny that like these players seem like they're getting drafted by the team that already had it, and I think that's what the Falcons went with was that Marcus Mariota and Desmond Ritter are like the exact same quarterback. We don't need to make a crazy playbook. They can run the exact same thing. We can get him to
Mhm.
develop, but if he doesn't, it's okay.
I think yeah, exactly. I think again, it's one of those things where him and Mariota could go back and forth this year for who starts. One, it's very easy for them to just make one playbook and say Desmond can run it, Mariota can run it,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of just work off of them. What I think, I don't think Desmond Ritter will beat out Marcus Mariota, to be quite honest. I think Marcus Mariota is a better thrower.
Mm-hmm.
I think, although Marcus Mariota kind of he didn't really get his just dues in Tennessee, and I think that is what hurt him. And honestly, I love Marcus Mariota. I think he still has a chance to be a very good quarterback. It's just gonna take a lot of work, and it's gonna take a lot of him proving people wrong. And I could see it happening, but again, I don't know. The Atlanta Falcons kind of seem to always kind of mess things up. So we'll see.
Atlanta, city
20,
of almost
28
champions,
3.
unless you're the
20,
Braves.
28 to 3. That's all I have to say.
Uh, with Marcus Mariota, the thing about him is that you can really say, in my opinion, is the Jamarcus Russell treatment. He kind of got to the NFL and it didn't seem like he really wanted to take off. It just seemed like he was just playing in the offense. It didn't seem like he wanted to take the step forward. It always seemed like he was just playing the game and he wasn't trying to be the next level elite quarterback that he could have been. Yeah.
I think that's just his personality,
He's
to be
so laid
honest.
back, so Hawaiian.
I honestly though, I think he's just a laid back dude, and it kind of probably rubs people the wrong
It's
way.
gonna
And
hurt
I
you.
and it's yeah, and it's gonna look bad when you make a bad play in practice and you're just stone faced, you're like, it's all good. Like
There's a
it's
laid back
right.
like Patrick Mahomes where you're just like you're just playing backyard football, but then there's a
Mhm.
laid back where it's like, do you really care about the sport?
I think
right?
he cares. You don't stay in football for that long. I mean, I guess the money is great, so I would stay in it.
Backup
But
quarterback, $16 million a year. Damn straight, I'm staying in
I
the
mean, that's
league.
fair enough. That's fair.
Hey, can you hold this
You're making a
clipboard
lot
for
of
me and make
money.
$16 million? I'm joking. That is not true at all. That is not actual, factual anything at all. They do a lot of work. I am
Yeah.
okay with that. We're gonna go into our next part here. Which just before I move on, which quarterback has the best opportunity to succeed?
I'm gonna go with Matt Corral. I
Yep,
think again he is just in the best position
I agree.
of all the four or three other quarterbacks.
I agree. Matt Corral has the best opportunity. This part we're gonna go into. Trying something different. I talked to you about this. Obviously, we're what's the check down. So I want to go with something called what's the check, and then what down is it? So it's gonna be like our hot take phase of the show. So how many takes did you end up thinking of?
I have one hot
All
take.
right, I got you. I do have two. I'll say one, but I will say the second one too. So just to go with it, what's your check?
My check this week is that the Bengals will not make the playoffs next year.
Ooh, that goes to our TikTok takes. I want you to know, but
Bengals will not make the playoffs.
taking a step back,
They're going to take a step back, 100%.
people are gonna figure them out.
I just think, like, along with what we talked about last week with I think we talked about um Jamar
Jamar
go,
Chase.
taking a step back. I think Joe Burrow might take a step back this year because he's not. Last year was his rookie year,
Yeah,
technically. Like it
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
technically his rookie year. I think he takes a step back this year, and I don't think they make the playoffs. And if they do, I think they bounce in the first round.
I like it. It's hot. It's sexy. It's beautiful.
It's
It's
hot.
like a
It's hot
Corvette from
steaming.
2022.
Yeah.
My check this week is AJ Brown contract hurts, no pun intended. Debo Samuel's leverage.
Okay. I don't
So
agree with that take, but I respect it.
the reason why is that AJ Brown stays healthy. Debo Samuel doesn't stay healthy. And how we talk about how you can never have enough running backs. Can you have a wide receiver playing running back that's going to get hurt, right? So if he's going to be playing that position and he's going to be $125 million a year, hey, AJ Brown, who's a pure wide receiver, who's bigger than you are, faster than you are, he's not even going to be making as much money as you want. His team got rid of him because he didn't want to do that. So I don't know what team's going to pay him upwards to more than AJ Brown.
I think Debo is a much better football talent than AJ
Mm-hmm.
Brown. And so for me, I think Debo will eventually get his money. Some way, somehow, I think he gets his money. I
I'm not
think he
gonna
gets
say he's not gonna be making 25 million. He deserves 25 million, but it hurts his leverage. So it
yeah,
hurts his like whole like, oh, I'm a weapon, I'm this, I'm that. It's like, well, this guy is equal to essentially, and his team couldn't even pay him that much. My
mhm.
second check that I got, a little bit out there. This one could be a really hot take. Tyreek Hill will not have a season nearly as big without Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I can see it.
This, in all the way I look at it, this could be the decline of Tyreek Hill's career. And I'm not
We'll
saying it will be, but to go from Patrick Mahomes, who gets you open downfield and can hit that deep ball, to Tua Tagovailoa, who can't throw a deep ball, he's going to be doing a lot more slants and having to make people miss, which he can do, obviously. But
yeah,
he's not going to be getting those 60-yard passes 2 or 3 times a season that really make him dangerous.
yeah. I do not agree. The more I think about it, the more I'm not even remotely close to being on the same
We will
page as you.
check at the end of the year his stats compared to with Kansas City that he has with Miami. I just don't see
Okay.
it being nearly as close. I really don't.
Okay.
That is it for our takes. You already dropping into some TikTok comments that we had?
Absolutely.
All right. So this is funny that you said. I'm gonna go straight for this comment. All right. So this is from Simp for Ethan. Won't talk about it. Bengals over Bills this year.
No, wrong. You are wrong. You are simply wrong. The Bills have made so many moves, like in the same vein as the Rams. They've made a lot of moves, and I just don't see them. I don't see them regressing. I see the Bengals regressing, for sure.
I have the Bills in the Super Bowl, so I don't know. Like,
I can second that. I could confidently say I could see the
the
Bills in the
Bills
Super
versus the Rams
Bowl.
in the Super Bowl. I'm calling my shot now. But no, the Bills.
Oh,
I mean, I don't agree with it. I'm not gonna say it's not gonna happen, but I'm doubling down on the Bills. The Bills will do better than the Bengals this year. From
absolutely.
Cleve play too much. Dolphins in the Super Bowl.
Get serious. That is the stupidest take I've ever heard in my life. Go home. Go
Wow,
home.
wow,
Terrible take.
wow.
Garbage.
Give them a chance.
Nope.
This one from Poppy. Rams will be at the Super Bowl again.
No.
Really?
No. Don't see it.
Who challenges them in the NFC?
I don't know, but I don't see them going back to back.
I see them having the chance. I
Okay.
really do. The Rams
We'll
to
see.
me will be the ones. I'll take this one. The instant replay. The Chargers defense will lead the league in turnovers this year. I can 100% see that. They
I don't see that.
really? Okay.
Yeah.
So who do you see leading the league in turnovers this year?
I'm gonna go with the Patriots.
Really?
Yeah.
I the thing about the Chargers is that they have a level of defense. They're stacked at each level. You got Joey, you got your linebackers, your defensive backs are great. You're stacking up. You got Derwin. You got really a whole complete defense at every level, and they're fast and they're big.
Scratch that. I'm going with the Colts. That's my take. Colts are gonna have the most turnovers. Promise you.
Here's another one for you. This is gonna be another one. This is all from Sim from Ethan. I'm gonna go straight through his because this man was full of hot takes. Miami will have an amazing playoff run.
What is with this guy in Miami?
This is a different one, but
Okay. I was gonna say I don't think they're making the playoffs, to be quite honest with you. I don't think Miami makes it.
we'll see. I'm not over the Bills, over the Patriots, over the Jets. The Jets are gonna be great. Zach Wilson is gonna win MVP. Better
Hey,
be ready for it.
don't sleep on the Jets. Don't sleep on the Jets. They drafted really well and they've got some players on their team. I honestly wouldn't sleep on it.
Devontae Adams will not improve the Raiders as much as they hope.
Wrong. Your takes are garbage, Ethan. Get better takes.
I disagree with him too because I think that this is going to help Derek Carr. It's going to help the offense. It's going to help everyone included. Like this is just straight up. It's going to be so much better for everyone. Kenny Pickett will be a bust.
No, you can't decide that first. Okay, I guess sure, maybe.
I think he could be a bust.
I'm thinking hot takes this year. I don't know. Kenny Pickett being a bust isn't a hot take for this year because we'll see.
This is from Slippy Fishy. People got the weirdest name on TikToks.
Weird names.
Eagles mid, not gonna lie. Eagles do be mid because their quarterback is mid.
Yeah, I don't know.
Jalen Hurts is not. I'm sorry, Jalen Hurts will not be that guy to me. They gotta get away from Jalen Hurts if they want to take that step forward.
Hey, they put the guys around them now.
They did put the guys. Yeah, there's no excuse.
No excuse.
Absolutely not.
We'll see. I think he's gonna do well, but we'll see.
Billy Bankins this year for the Lions. We going 5-12. Yes.
I'll do you one better. 6-11.
Hey.
6-11.
And you know what? Being a Jaguars fan, that is a winning season. You're a Giants fan. That is a winning season. That is not a winning season. That is a winning season.
Don't try to lump us in together. We're not the same.
We are the same.
We are
trash.
Same.
We are garbage.
No, you are
Welcome
trash.
to the garbage meeting.
You are trash. We've won 2 Super Bowls this decade, okay?
No, what?
Yeah.
In the last decade, not this decade.
Yeah, we've won 2 Super Bowls.
Get
very
your
recently.
English right.
Yeah, in the last 20 years, we've won 2 Super Bowls. How many have you won ever?
We're winners. We went
Yeah.
5-11 and 6-11.
You guys can keep your 6-11, 5-11. We're not the same.
That is all
There's
for
levels
the,
to this.
the TikTok takes. I did want to make one last comment on this thing I sent you, because this was so funny to me. Something we're gonna talk about a little bit more later is that comments that people really do say on larger social medias that I think is crazy.
Bruh, some people just needed attention as kids, and now they're looking for it on the comment section, in the comment sections of big pages and the most outrageous stuff.
I won't
So
call
dumb.
I won't call a person out, but someone said that they want the Jaguars to get Debo, and someone respond on this, and I'll put this in it too. Not a wide receiver one.
That's a hot take. That's a hot, steamy take right there.
Debo Samuel, not a wide receiver one. No, you're right. He's wide receiver one. He's running back one. He's QB one. He's offensive lineman one. He's kick return one.
He's just offense one.
Yeah,
He's
right. Offense one.
Put Debo on literally any team in the league right now. They're better.
Yep.
They've now become a much better team.
And you put Jimmy G on any team, they all decline.
And they've all become Super Bowl champions.
He's the most winning Super Bowl quarterback if Tom Brady retires.
You have Jimmy G on your team, you're in the playoffs.
It's true. It's true, unfortunately. But anything else you got to finish off today?
Stop making stupid comments and big pages. Instagrams.
We'll keep calling them out. The callers are the outers.
We'll find you.
And we will not hurt you, but we will make fun of you.
We will roast you. And you'll know who you are.
The last thing I'm gonna say is reportedly the Titans only offered AJ Brown $60 million a year.
That's crazy. That's way below asking. He was asking for 20.
John Brown got 17. Or
That's
not John.
Stupid.
Christian Kirk got 17 mil a year. They're the same person.
Stupid.
Yeah.
AJ Brown is better than Christian Kirk.
Yeah. Hollywood Brown to Arizona. Do we like it or not?
I think it's pretty good. I'm not really high on Hollywood Brown, to be honest. So we'll see. He's got a chance to prove it. He's got 6 games.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not high on Cardinals, to be honest with you. I think that's what it is. Not my cup of tea.
I'm very low on Hollywood Brown and the Cardinals. You know who I think benefits from this? Rashad Bateman. I think he's going to have a crazy year this year. I'm calling my shot now. Rashad Bateman. He's going to have a Jamar type year.
Okay. Fantasy football David.
That's me.
Yeah, you're David. That's David. That's David. I'm Chandler. This is What's a Checkdown with Chandler and David. That is the end of our show for another week. We got it. Appreciate you, and we're gonna see us next week and keep going so forth, whatever the words of English are. But appreciate everyone hanging out. I didn't go to college. Don't blame me. Peace out, everyone. Have a great night.